1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move. Whatever click you choose, you better
say what's cracking, YouTube. It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Guard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. Yeah, that's me gassing right there on that intro, man. And if you want to get that song, it's available only on a 10-song EP that you can get straight from me on digital download. Cashapp, PayPal, or Zelle me $20, and I'll get it to you ASAP. Actually, all 3 of my mixtapes are available by purchase on digital download, man. So hit me up on my email, 16tolifemusic@gmail.com if you're interested, and I'm gonna get it to you ASAP. Also, man, real quick, yesterday I put up a story in honor of an individual known as Larry Foster, affectionately called the Fat Man. He was a dude who I happened to encounter when I was in Billings, Montana. And unfortunately for him and his family, he passed away, I believe it was Friday. So I put that story up in his honor, man. It happens to be an extremely funny story. So if you have not heard that story, man, go check it out. The name of that story is called Who Wants to Fight the Fat Man? Go check that out, man. It's an extremely funny story. And rest in peace to the Fat Man. So y'all see who I got on the screen, man. It's Damien Porter, aka the big fella, Mr. Sinister Machinations himself. So I'm getting ready to react. He's finally back, man. He had disappeared for a while from the YouTube scene. Now he's back. So let's hop right up into this video.
Welcome to another episode, everyone. Back in the Los Angeles County Jail in 2016, a black inmate from Hawthorne, California, was brutally attacked by multiple black inmates for disrespecting his own daughter. Well, we were right there in the hole. I was in the hole, headed to Wayside. The county jail was done with me, said that I had too much influence and was kicking me out, sending me to Wayside. I had a couple of tricks up my sleeve to stay right there in the county jail until I was finished taking care of certain business that needed to be taken care of. So there in the hole, dude from Hawthorne is yelling out of the cell door, and he's talking to a Crip upstairs. And he's saying that he's in there for a parole violation and that his parole officer is about to let him out, that he had been sleeping with his parole officer. Now, I don't know if his parole officer was a man or a woman, but he said he had been.
I would like to think that his parole officer was a woman, but in this day and age, you don't know.
Sleeping with this person. And based on that, this person was not going to send him back to prison and violate him. That in fact was coming down to release him soon. But as he's carrying on this conversation,
man, okay, hey, look, I hate to do this, man. I think I'm gonna blame this one on the big fella, man. By you saying that you didn't know if the parole officer was a man or a woman, because if you had not said that, I believe we all would have assumed that the parole officer was a woman. But now you got this other stuff going on, man, and he said you know, he was coming down to release him. It's just, my bad. I shouldn't even I probably shouldn't even say that. Let's go ahead, man. Let's go ahead.
He says, to prove a point during the conversation, that's on my daughter's you know what. He didn't say you know what. He said the P word, her private parts.
Damn.
He said that's on my daughter's P. Talking about his daughter's thing down there that you make babies with, where babies come from, the womb. He said, man, that's on my daughter's P. My parole officer coming to get me. And I'm sure everyone there in the hole, well, they took pause, because I certainly did. I said, what the hell did he just say? I asked my neighbor, I said, did you hear that? He said, yeah, man, this dude tripping. Now, if you're talking like that, you are some sort of deviant as far as I am concerned. Hell, you may be in there for doing something with your daughter or something to your daughter.
Yeah, that's an extremely crazy statement just to announce over the tier. You know, I mean, I know nowadays this younger generation, they say some crazy stuff. They put stuff on God all the time and on the dead homies every other sentence. But right there, that is some very, very unusual vernacular to be hollering over the tier, man.
Because why would you make a statement like that? He says, man, that's on my daughter's P. I'm not lying. My parole officer is about to come and get me and release me. That's on your daughter's P. And so, as to be expected, a couple of the blacks yell out of the tears, say, bro, what you say, man? You tripping, don't say that again. Don't say that again. They told him, they made it explicitly clear that he was disparaging and denigrating himself and his daughter. And not to put that out on the tier with other races and just with our race, with anyone. Why would you say that? You're in violation.
Yeah, let me pause that right there, right? And I think this is a good point to point out, right? Because somewhere in this YouTube space, I don't know where it came from, right? But somewhere, man, it has been put out there and believed by some that the blacks in the California prisons, or blacks in prison everywhere, but blacks in the California prisons specifically, do not care about this type of thing. We don't care if you got dudes on the yards with bad charges concerning women and things of that nature. And that's extremely far from the truth. You know, we have mothers, we have sisters, we have daughters, female friends and cousins that we don't want anything to happen to if it's against their will, right? So I don't know where this narrative has begun, right? And it does have a lot to do at times with, sometimes you have the black cars so differently splintered and so many different fractions that when somebody else comes, if that's not your homeboy, it's not your job to ask this dude, you know, what he's in for, what did he do? And sometimes you got to keep in mind, like Damien said right here, some of these dudes do not be gang affiliated. And sometimes if they're not gang affiliated, they can slip through the cracks. At other times, people may not just ask, you know, it's a bunch of different reasons, but definitely you have a lot of blacks who are concerned with this type of thing.
So he said that he had not said anything wrong, that it was his daughter and his family, and that he can say and do whatever the hell he wanted. This was essentially his attitude. This is how he was comporting himself there in the hole. He figured could no one get to him, and again, he would be on his way out of the door soon. His parole officer was coming to get him, according to him. So he can talk whatever trash he wanted behind this cell door, because there in the hole, you are handcuffed every time you come out of your cell. You're being escorted to the shower by 2 deputies or so. You're being escorted to a visit. You can still have a visit, but it's, you know, but you're being escorted.
And real quick, it's a trip, right? Because I've seen that happen many times, not this particular situation, but where you will have dudes in the hole and you will have one dude hollering and screaming out the cell door, you know, doing the cell soldier thing, as what we call it in California prisons, and just being highly disrespectful, talking crazy to people, not realizing that, man, at some point in time, you are going to have to come out of that cell and you're going to hit a yard. And this is going to follow you. But sometimes I guess that's not on their mind, man. And You know, they scream because the safety of knowing that they're locked in. And then when they do come out, they're handcuffed, being escorted, it gets to them, you know. But yeah, I've seen that happen many a times. And later on, when they hit the yard down the line, it caught up to them.
Everywhere that you go. So he knows that he is protected, and that in his mind, he's not going back to a module. He's going home. So he says it again in the conversation after the blacks had told him not to say that again, not to cross that line, not to do that again, or it's going to be your ass. He basically said, can nobody tell him what to do? And he said it again, man, that's on my daughter's, you know what? Uzi. That's on my daughter's, Uzi. What? This dude is sick in the mouth. He's sick in the brain. This is a very seedy and sketchy individual who cannot be trusted. He's an embarrassment to the black community and the black faction. And every black is in an uproar over what he's doing.
Yeah, you know, for those out there who, and I don't think there's many, but for those out there who are wondering, why would the blacks be in an uproar? This man is making this crazy ass announcement that is very unusual and some would consider sexual in nature in relation to his daughter. And you're announcing this over the tier. You're screaming this, hollering over the tier for everybody who is black, white, Mexican, Asian, and what have you to hear. And so it definitely does make the blacks look bad, especially if they was just to allow this individual to walk around unharmed, even though they were in a situation at that particular moment where no one could get to him. But it is just an extremely unusual thing to holler out. And so that is why the blacks were, I'm presuming, extremely upset, because it's crazy for you to say. And yes, in a situation and an environment where everything is racially separated and secluded or racially closed off, it does make the blacks look bad.
Well, as fate would have it, when I go back to the county jail, to the main line, to the 4,000 floor, because I did not go to Wayside yet at this time, but they were trying to get me there. The dude, he shows up. He's from Hawthorne. Now, they have gangs out there in Hawthorne, but he doesn't gang bang. They have different gangs out there in Hawthorne, but he's not a gang member. But he has a little afro, dark-skinned dude. He's about 36 years old, grown-ass man. I don't recognize him. He didn't cut his hair. He's trying to disguise himself. He knows that he's in for it. His parole officer did not come and get him after all. Now you're stuck with your ill-advised decisions. Oh, well. A couple of blacks that were there, well, they were prone to violence. Most of the blacks there are prone to violence because you're going to be tested in the county jail by your opposition and even your own faction. They want to make sure that you have the mettle to stand up to said opposition.
That's definitely true. And sometimes also, man, just to keep it 100, you know, dudes be in jail and they be somewhat bored and they have that street mentality, and a person will come in there and some dudes want to find out where he's from. You know, if he's got heart, they look at him. He may not be big in stature, and so some people may look at him as, you know, this is an easy win. So, you know, yeah, when you hit the county jail, it's definitely going to be some squabbling going on. It's definitely going to be some opposition, you know, dudes pushing up on you to see where your heart is at. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
Oftentimes, the violence in the county jail is faction against their own brethren to test your mettle. And so everyone there, if they're on the main line, it's been through something or it's going through something in the Los Angeles County Jail. Everyone is tested, battle tested, then been through riots, etc. And there's a certain protocol even there in the Los Angeles County Jail that must be adhered to. He had violated and flouted this protocol. Yeah, we all took umbrage to that. And so the couple of blacks that were there, that were seedy individuals as well, decided that they would volunteer to brutalize this individual that had crossed a line that you cannot return from.
And like I just said, you know, sometimes you have individuals who may have been upset with what this dude said and wanted to get him for that purpose and that reason. Or at times, like I think I just mentioned, you have dudes that sometimes that's bored, man. You know, they're sitting in these cells. They're basically going through the same routine day in and day out. And to change up the monotony a little bit, you know, they want to brutalize somebody. I mean, you know, it's a lot of cold type of ideology and thinking going on in those spaces where people have their freedom removed and they try to find these other activities to bring a little fun, I guess. You know, I'm telling you, man, those county jails definitely hell, and you got to have your mind mentally prepared for what's to come when you go in there, unfortunately, and you're black.
A crime against a child? No, we're not sure if he had committed a crime against a child or his daughter. We were trying to get his paperwork. He was acting like he didn't have his paperwork, that he had to holler at his attorney and get his paperwork. Well, that's going to take some time. And by then, he'd been enrolled up, meaning went PC, left, caught wind that he's about to be attacked and said, oh no, I'm out of here. Well, he has to be attacked before this happens. And so sometimes people say they don't have the paperwork as a stall tactic. They know that the paperwork will indeed reveal that they are shady, diabolical characters worthy of deletion. So they're going to stall and make an exit plan. This happens all of the time, and we're not going to let that happen here. So he's claiming that he does not have his paperwork. Okay, fine. Now, the blacks said that they're sure that this is him. Finally, we told him, bro, is that you that was just in the hole yelling out on the tier to the homie upstairs? Yes or no? Don't lie, tell the truth. We know that that's you. You didn't cut your hair. The homies here said that that's you. They know you. They knew you in a module before you even went to the hole. Are you waiting on your parole officer to come and get you? He said, yeah. He said, well, that was you, right? Just tell the truth, bro. Ain't nobody going to just tell the truth. And finally, he admitted that he had the unmitigated gall, the audacity to yell out on the tier that that's on his daughters. You know what?
Now, see, at that point, I'm pretty sure the individual realized that, you know, he was in the hot seat. He's been released for the whole. He's in general population, and dudes are about to get on his helmet, though, for that crazy statement he made over the tier. Now, you heard Damien say that dudes are pressing him about his paperwork, you know, and so they're not getting ready to hop up on him because they think that he may have done something that he shouldn't have with his daughter. By him making that statement, you have some believing that, okay, if he makes that statement, ain't no telling what this dude might do. So whether he had produced paperwork or not that said that he was in there for, even if he was in there for a burglary, his ass was still going to be whooped for making that crazy statement. So, yeah, them asking for his paperwork was just to actually check to see what he actually was in there for, due to him making that crazy statement.
He was indeed the culprit. The individuals who had pointed him out were correct. Right then and there, the die was cast and the decision was made to attack. Later on that day, the same day, well, somehow his cell door did indeed come open. And 4 blacks or so ran inside of the cell. He ran to the back of the cell and tried to grab the phone and start trying to swing the phone. He was trying to protect himself, but he was no match for these wolves who had taken umbrage to him disrespecting his own daughter. Weapons were indeed involved, and he was viciously attacked. He was brutalized, stabbed, beaten, stomped. A couple of his teeth were missing, and there was blood all over the floor. They did not let up. They were relentless in their attack, and no one tried to get them to let up because of the disdain that they had for this vermin, because of what he had did. The police came, cleaned him up, threw him on a stretcher, got him out of there, and that was the end of him. Never saw him again. Old Hawthorne was out of there for playing these type of games. Certain things will never fly behind the wall, behind those bars. Certain things will never go. Disrespecting the elderly, women, or children is at the top of the list.
And I think I'm gonna end it right there, right? But I think that that was a good video on Damien's part, just due to the fact that, you know, like I mentioned earlier, for somewhere along the lines, man, it has been put out there an untrue narrative that blacks don't have any qualms with having those type of individuals on the main line amongst their presence or whatever. Here it is, an individual who wasn't even proven to have those type of charges, but just due to the ridiculous statement that he made, they hopped on this helmito. You know, sometimes people have a problem when they hear stories about black on black violence, but you know, it is definitely that type of environment. And when you put yourself into that type of environment, you have to act accordingly or your ass will be whooped. No ifs, ands, or buts, whys, or whats, man. They hopped on him with them lefts and rights and also them knives and put down a cold lesson, man. So look, anybody out there who also has not seen my interview, because I interviewed Damien Porter a while ago when he first started doing YouTube, I'll leave a link in the description. Definitely be sure to go check that out, man. Y'all already know what it is, though. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.